So once upon a time, right, a guy called Bizer King made a song called Dom Dom Yes Yes. This guy is like Turkish Bulgarian, right? And it uses among other nonsense words, it uses a word skibbity as a nonsense word. Now this song blows up on Turkish TikTok, and it's combined with the song "Give It to Me," which is kind of famous for the fucking Zoolander meme from like 2022, right? When you see us in that shit, they combined, and they make a song together, and then basically this guy called Da Fuck Boom makes an animation of a toilet, of a human head coming from a toilet singing that song, and he calls the animation Skibbity Toilet, and that's where you get Skibbity Toilet from. In the Greek times, they had a word called charis, which means like favor and like grace to the Greeks, and that becomes charisma, which means what it means today, and then they replace that K with a C, and it becomes what the English know as charisma. Now, in sort of New York slang, that is shortened to Riz, and then that sort of just exists in sort of just New York inner city culture for a bit, and then it's spread by a man called Kai Cenat. And now this man becomes very important. It's the spreader of culture to young people later in this year. It's spread by a man called Kai Cenat, who talks about the unspoken Riz, and then other people caught on to that spread on TikTok, and that's where you get Riz from. So Sigma is a letter in the Greek alphabet, and it's basically just a letter. But then in 1947, this guy called Rudolf Schenkel, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I can't tell because I just wrote the script. He does a study on wolves, and he classifies the male wolves by the alpha and the beta, right? The alpha is the top dog, and the beta is just cringe. And then that remains very sort of popular in the study of animals, the dominant males and the less dominant males. So as the internet blows up, right, in the late 90s and the early 2000s, people start to use that. People start to use alpha and beta to classify men in like sexual circumstances, right? There's a guy called Robert Beale around like 2013, I want to say, who uses Sigma to refer to a lone wolf man, and he associated it already with like different film characters. Like I think like one of them was like Han Solo or something like that. And basically, like you've got to imagine like this. You know how in Star Wars there's like the Jedi and the Sith, and they're like those are the two sides. And then you've got some fucking annoying people that come along and say, well, actually, I want to be a grey Jedi, and I'm both a Jedi and a Sith. And these people are really fucking annoying, and they don't understand how Star Wars works, and they just want to prance around with their fucking OC DeviantArt characters, right? Well, that's what the Sigma male is. This shit doesn't exist, and it's just introverted people trying to make themselves into a special category. And that's it. Your DeviantArt maleness, all right, bro. I don't want to hear it. And then in 2015, a guy called John Alexander writes a book called The Sigma Male, What Women Really Want. And it basically exists as part of that dating subculture until about 2021, where it blows up in ironic memes, the fucking Patrick Bateman, trillionaire hustler grind set, right? And then like about a year later, and it's at this point, like the Sigma male is like a completely ironic thing, right? It's all a joke. But then like a year later, 2 years later maybe, the whole like Andrew Tate sphere blows up, and then the Sigma male thing goes from being the ironic Patrick Bateman meme to being a serious thing again. And like nowadays, right, because that's it's not died down, but I mean Andrew Tate's died down, but like that culture is becoming a bit ironic again. So you get what I'm saying? It's gone from like serious to ironic to serious again to like ironic again. That's crazy. And that's how you could that's how you are a Sigma male. That's how we get our Sigma males today. We love our Sigma males, don't we, guys?
So the Greeks had a word phantasma, which changed into the English phantasm, and then became the word phantom, which means like an illusion, or now it comes to mean ghost, a class of ghost. And
Phantom was a nickname given to a young man called Roberto Buscemi. It's a misspelling of phantom, right? Because he'd come and go and like disappear. And basically, this guy moves to the Kai Cenat streamer house. See, I told you Kai Cenat would become useful later. And when he's in the Kai Cenat streamer house, right, this guy loves food. So he takes a bit of everyone else's food. And so, because when you take some of other people's stuff for your stuff, I mean, usually that's called stealing, but when the government does it, it's called a tax. And so when Phantom was taking parts of other people's food, that's where you get the Phantom tax. So before people settled in America, there were a group of sort of native tribes, and there was a certain area which had like a big river in it, and so they called the area the Oyo, which meant Great River. Then at some point, English people come along, and they take over, and they take over from the native people, and then they take this name, and they call it Ohio. Fast forward about 500 years. Then in 2016, basically this Ohio place, which has become a great state in the wonderful union that is the United States of America, becomes a part of like random humor. Ohio will be eliminated, stuff like that. And basically, a fuck ton of memes have come out of Ohio, right? The Burger King foot lettuce place was in Ohio, and of course, the darkest day in human history, Harambe. When the beautiful gorilla Harambe was killed, that obviously happened in, what was the zoo called again? Cincinnati Zoo. Thank you. How could I forget that? That was a dark day for all of humanity. So when that gorilla was killed in the Cincinnati Zoo, kickstarting the death of humanity. That was in Ohio, and then you have like a load of other memes like that that basically build up. And then combined with like some like jokes from sort of like city areas like Cleveland or whatever. Is Cleveland? I don't know. But yeah, so inner city like culture about different places being like crazy. All that comes together to say that certain things happen only in Ohio. And that's where you get stuff that happened only in Ohio. That's where you get Ohio as the joke is today. Now, around the time of the 100 Years' War, the French start to describe the English as goddamned. Now, this phrase becomes used more and more by the English, such as in the Civil War, as goddamn. It becomes shortened into one word, which is just goddamn. It's pretty epic. And then in the sort of social media age, it's when it's spelt. It's some people spell it. I think either Nicki Minaj or Cardi B did it. Spell it as Gyat, Gyatdam. And then Gyat became a sort of exclamation of surprise. And then at some point in like the 2020s, it's in a TikTok video of a guy with a huge arse and someone yells Gyat. And basically, ever since, the word Gyat has been associated as a term of surprise, but also a term of huge arse. And now that is the history of a lot of very important Zoomer words. If you're going to go to Ohio, if you want to phantom tax some level 10 Gyats, you've got to know the origins of these things. If you want to pass your Rizology 101 lessons, I hope this has taught you some Sigma Skibbity tips. And if you want to hear more, I mean, you're kind of dumb and I don't like you, but I actually really enjoyed making this video. Etymology is a very fun subject. Part 2 coming soon. There might be a part 2 at some point. I'm also working on a high effort video at the moment that will end up being shittier than this video because that's how my stuff works out. Shut up. See you around. I have been Picardiaproductions. Hit the gritty. Fortnite Skibbity toilet. See you.